For the past few releases, OmniServer has had a powerful usability enhancement that you may not be aware of, a Topic Wizard, which was designed to increase your efficiency and the ease of getting started when you're working with OmniServer to integrate your non-standard process devices. For new users, the new Topic Wizard in OmniServer version 3 and above should feel very intuitive and lessen the learning curve if you've never touched an OmniServer before. Even for existing users, the wizard is very user-friendly, and users will likely appreciate the time savings made possible by being able to step to a wizard to configure your communications. In this video, I'll step you through the very easy process to configure your OmniServer to communicate with your non-standard devices using the Topic Wizard. So when I launch my OmniServer for the first time, we find that the new wizard launches by default, as you can see here. Now, for existing users, it may be tempting to tick the checkbox you see here in the bottom left corner, do not show me on startup, and just cancel the wizard. We do give you that option if you're a longtime user wishing to preserve the original user experience, which will keep the wizard from launching the next time you open the OmniServer configuration. Now, I would suggest having a look through the wizard before doing that, though, and consider the additional ease of use it provides by keeping the wizard enabled. If you do happen to enable Do Not Show Me at Startup by ticking that box, and you ever want to re-enable the wizard, you do so by clicking the wizard button in the toolbar. So you see that here in the top right hand of the corner of the toolbar in the OmniServer configuration. And then you just go down and you deselect that checkbox to re-enable the wizard so that it launches the next time. Since our purpose is to demonstrate the Topic Wizard, I'm going to go ahead and leave this setting unchecked and click Next to proceed. Here we're presented with the general topic settings that are standard for any topic configuration in OmniServer. A topic in OmniServer is a representation of a specific physical device using a specific OmniServer protocol that is used by your HMI or SCADA applications such as Wonderware to communicate with your device. For simplicity in this demo, I'm going to configure a topic to communicate with an Ethernet barcode scanner. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a topic name of line 1 scanner. So line 1 scanner. And that's going to be the topic name that gets referenced from the client application, such as Wonderware, your HMI or SCADA application, in order to access the device we associate with this topic. And then I'm going to go to the optional description, and this is where you can provide a little more information about what this topic is used for. So I'm just going to say topic for barcode scanner on line 1. Then we come to the update interval setting, which is the frequency of requests to a device when using a solicited protocol, which is where OmniServer is actually sending messages out to the device, as opposed to unsolicited, where OmniServer just sits here and waits for the device to send data when it's available. Now, the update interval setting only applies for client connections that don't pass their own update interval. So that's going to apply for client connections such as DDE, for instance. For client connections such as OPC DA or UA, those types of client connections actually do pass an update interval as part of that connection. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this at the default of 1,000 milliseconds because I'm communicating with an unsolicited barcode scanner. It's really not going to be of any consequence on this particular topic for me. Next, we come to an optional write delay, which defaults to a value of 0. Now, this setting allows us to introduce a delay between sends to the device. Now, you might have also heard this setting referred to as something called inter-request delay, where delay is introduced between each request. So for our purposes, again, since I mentioned we're communicating with an unsolicited barcode scanner, this particular setting is not necessary. So we're just going to retain the default value of 0 here. And then we get to the meat of the topic, specifying the protocol and the physical connection that should be used to communicate with a device. So for this particular demo, I'm actually going to use the sample barcode protocol that installs with OmniServer for demo purposes. So you see that one's actually at the top of the list. So I don't have to do the drop down. I just want you to see that all of your configured protocols are actually going to show up in this drop down list. So I'm going to use the barcode one. And however, if you're truly just getting started and you don't have a defined protocol yet, then you've got this Create New button that you can click to launch the protocol editor. you'll specify the name you want to use for the protocol, and then once you finish the topic wizard, you'll go over and you'll configure that particular protocol that you named here. But for our purposes, we're going to go ahead and use an existing one. So I'm going to click that Use Existing button to go back over and select my barcode protocol. And so the actual protocol building actually isn't covered in this particular video. So that's why we're going to go ahead and use one of the pre-existing protocols. Since the barcode protocol I'm using doesn't include a topic variable, which is a construct that you use in an OmniServer protocol that allows you to specify variables like a device ID, for instance, up at the topic level. It essentially allows you to make your protocols more generic so that they can be used across multiple topics to communicate with the same type of device that maybe has a different value, for instance, device ID. So device 1, device 2, device 3. That allows you to specify that up at the topic level instead of having to hard code that in your actual protocol. So we don't actually see those. I'm actually going to go ahead and select a protocol that has one of those so that you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to select Modbus. You'll see because that protocol is using a topic variable, I get a list of the topic variables down at the bottom, and I can specify the value for those. It's very important that any topic variables that are listed once you select your protocol do have the proper values entered for your specific device. Otherwise, you're probably going to have communication issues. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and select my barcode protocol again. And next we select the device. So it's either going to be an existing serial COM connection, an Ethernet connection, or an LPT printer connection from the device dropdown. So you see currently I have COM1, COM2, and another TCP Ethernet device configured. If the device connection hasn't been created yet, it's not going to show up in this list, which is why we have this plus sign new button to the right. That's what we're going to go ahead and click that so that we can define a new device. And the first step to defining a new device is selecting which of those previously mentioned devices, the type that we need. So you'll see we've got a serial or USB mapped device option. So USB mapped being if you have a device that's connected via USB port to your computer, but it's mapped to a virtual COM port, you would select this option because as far as OmniServer is concerned, that shows up as a serial device to us. Or an LPT printer device or an Ethernet device. So for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and select Ethernet, and then we're going to click Next to proceed with that configuration. Now we need to specify all the specific device parameters, including the Ethernet transport type, IP address, the port, and others. So for my purposes, I'm going to select a transport type of TCP. Then I'm going to go ahead and enter my IP address, 192.168.11.50. And since you've heard me say a couple times that my barcode is unsolicited, because I know my barcode scanner is going to be making the connection to my OmniServer machine, as opposed to OmniServer making the connection to the barcode scanner, I know because of that I need to tick the inbound connection checkbox, which allows me to fill in the listen port, and that tells OmniServer what port it should be expecting a connection on from the device. So I'm going to enter port 500. And that's the port that OmniServer is going to listen on for that connection, that data from my barcode scanner. And if the scanner supports TCP keep alive messages, and actually we'll be sending those, like if that's enabled on the device, we could go ahead and tick the box for enable keep alives that you see here. We're going to go ahead and leave this disabled for our purposes. And that's it for my TCP Ethernet device configuration. So if I go ahead and click Next, that brings me to a summary for the topic, and that allows me to review what we specified to make sure everything's good. So it shows me the topic name I specified, that optional description, the update interval, the protocol I'm using, and then all the parameters that were specified for that Ethernet device. And because those settings are all good, I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. And as you can see, the topic that I just configured with the wizard is now complete and available in the topic list for a client to connect to. So you've seen how the Topic Wizard in OmniServer gives you one place to go to start configuring your non-standard device connections in OmniServer, and how it streamlines the process, stepping you through the process, which should be especially helpful if you've never worked with OmniServer previously.